Alright, so nagbabalik tayo sa ating violin tips and tricks. And for today's video, let's talk about the learning process of mastering a certain piece, no? Para sa pag-aaral nyo, especially if you are having a hard time or you're experiencing a little bit of hump na you can't get over when you're trying to master something, no? Before you even try and memorize it, no? Yan. So, this video actually comes as a follow-up to the video last week wherein we talked about memorizing certain pieces, no? Kung paano mag-memorize. But, as I've said in that video, it comes with prerequisites. So, basically, memorizing something is way ahead of what you need. Marami ka pang pagdadaanan na process in order for you to really master that piece, in order for you to play it confidently bago mo pa siya ma-memorize. Okay? So, first things first, no? There are a lot of approaches in learning a piece, no? This might not work for you or it might actually work for you. Depende na rin yun sa situation and how you really learn, because everyone has their pace, has their different strengths and weaknesses. Maybe this is not the best way for you, but maybe try it out, no? Kung hindi mo pa siya natatry. And this doesn't just work for music pieces na mahaba. This also works for passages, no? Or whatever you're trying to play, no? Kahit ano actually, kahit walang score, this could actually work as well, no? So basically, what you want to do is when you have a piece, the first thing that you actually need to do is to play the whole thing, no? As close to tempo as possible. As fast, not really as fast as you can, but as close to the original tempo that you want it to be played as, no? So, we just parang scrubbing through lang. Tinitignan lang natin kung natutugtog ba natin siya at that speed. It just makes us want to feel the music muna, di ba? Para alam natin different patterns that comes into the music. Meron bang challenging points? So, ma-identify agad natin. Which things should we focus on? What techniques do we lack when we're trying to study these pieces? Para alam na natin. And then, you also try to find the easy parts na hindi mo na masyado kailangan i-focus, and because you already are equipped with those techniques na lumalabas while you were trying to play through it, no? So that's what we call the first playthrough. Let's call that the first playthrough. And after playing through it, okay, that's the time you assess the piece. Assess mo siya. Tignan mo, yun nga, kung ano dun yung kayang-kaya mo ng aralin, ano yung mahihirap na parts, which parts will give you the most complicated passages, saang parts dun yung mahihirapan ka talaga based on the skill level that you're in and the techniques that you already know, no? So, once you assess those things, you could now mark it off, no? This could also help in your memorizing, no? Kasi nga, makikita mo na, oh, this part goes to this part, goes to that part, goes to that part. So, makikita mo na agad yung form niya. And you can focus on each part independently. Okay? Now, before I continue, this doesn't happen in a day, okay? This is just your the totality of what could happen if you're learning something. Maybe it could last a span of a month or even a year, di ba? Maraming pwedeng mangyari. But again, it's never linear. Hindi rin naman natin pwedeng sabihin na, okay, day 1, day 2, day 3, na progressive talaga siya. There will be times that you would slack off, but having a plan in tackling certain situations could help out, make it a better experience for you, di ba? At least meron kang go-to na pwede mong puntahan. Okay? So, dividing it to smaller chunks, and now, as you divide it into, let's say, concerto, let's say may A, B, C, D parts, no? Just for an easy way to identify. Let's say, yung part A, madali lang sa'yo. Since yung mga techniques na nandun, nagagawa mo na. So, you don't really need to focus that much on it at this point. Because at this point, you shouldn't be focusing too much on interpretation. So after assessing, you focus on the notes and the techniques, no, kung paano mo siya mapapaganda. Now, you could also do with dynamics, pero for me, if I'm practicing something, I would already include dynamics while practicing the notes. Just because, iba yung technique for playing loud and the technique for playing soft. It's not just like a volume thing. No. Sometimes it is just a volume thing, but for the most part, when you're learning something that is written, there's a certain quality or character that comes with a piano, that comes with a forte. So, you have to include that para alam mo kung gaano kahaba yung bow na gagamitin, gaano kaiksi, how fast your hands will move. So, those types of things, you're already hitting a lot of milestones, ika nga, while learning those things in the beginning pa lang. No? So, we call it foundation. No? You're building your foundation. No? So, parang sa bahay, di ba? Hindi man magpapatayo agad ng mga poste kung walang foundation sa ilalim. Okay? So, you do that for each part, no? So, you take each part separately and then try to find ano pa ba yung mahihirap within that part. Let's say, sa A part, merong, let's say, 2 or 4 measures or 4 lines in that part na medyo kailangan mo tutukan. So, instead of focusing on the other parts, you focus on that and make sure that you get it. No? Dito na pumapasok yung dahan-dahan mo na rin siyang na-memorize. Slowly, as you are repeating, as you are trying to play it through, and trying to figure out fingerings, bowings, other techniques, you're already conditioning yourself to memorize those passages. And then, since madali lang namang i-recall yung ibang parts for you, it would be easier to just put them all together. Okay? So, sabihin natin natapos ka na sa A, you go to B. Okay? So, do the same thing with B. And then, try to play through A and B. So, you also need to connect those things. No? Kasi hindi naman pwedeng isa-segment mo lang sila. Especially if those parts are really connected with each other. Siguro sa concertos, you can say na merong orchestra part in the middle. So, you don't really need to practice that as connected as possible. Kasi meron namang mga long pauses and long rests or breaks to really condition your mind into playing the other parts. But if it doesn't have that, try to play through, no? Kahit yung mga parts na yun. So you just add and add. Do the same steps for, let's say, sabi nga natin A to D. So from A to B, and then now B to C, and then C to D, and then the whole thing. Okay? So that's a good way to learn the notes, the dynamics, and the techniques. At saka mo palang ilalagay ngayon yung mga interpretations mo. Let's say, mga kakaibang vibrato techniques, let's say rubatos, or other expressions na gusto mong ilagay doon. No? So that you have this blank slate na almost, iwan na natin siya na almost, let's say 80 to 90% complete. And you just add your own interpretation to it. Diba? So, in that way, yung interpretation mo can still change. No? It's not purely dependent on just the technique. So, hindi ka limited sa technique na yun, kaya ganun yung nagiging interpretation mo. You have more things that you could do. No? You could easily change it because you mastered the notes, the techniques, and then, pag sinabi na, dito sa part na to, kailangan mas brusko yung tunog or whatever your teacher might say, you could easily change it kasi na-master mo na siya. You could play around with it. That is what we call yung kamado mo na yung pyesa. So, you have it mastered. And by that time na nandun ka na, that's the time you actually memorize those things. Kasi dun mo palang masasabi na okay na talaga siya. No? So it's again not just, you can just get it in a day. Maybe if you're playing short pieces, yes, but if you're playing really long pieces, usually even professionals, no, take like 1 to 2 years to really master a certain piece, no. They can play it on the fly, yes, but mastering these things, kung wala daw concerts, no, people were already saying that if they could take their time, they would, no? Even the professionals who do those, no? Even the soloists, really just take their time in order for them to learn a piece, no? Hindi naman siya talaga madalian na 5 minutes, 10-minute practice every day makukuha mo na if the piece is really complicated. So you really have to put in the effort, no? But again, this is just a guide that you could actually use, no? So after playing through, hihimayin mo into smaller chunks and then slowly building it back up, no? And then pag na-build mo siya back up, kahit di mo pa siya memorize, play it through. Tsaka ka palang mag-play through na mag-play through. Because some people tend to practice like this. Tutugtugin nila ng mabilis in tempo. And then babagalan nila, no? But will still play through it every time. So you're actually wasting so much time. Kasi may mga parts doon na kayang-kaya mo naman talaga. Na hindi, you don't need to spend that much time on certain parts. So why play through it ng paulit-ulit, di ba? You're just gonna waste time, effort, and energy. Kaya katatama rin mag-practice. Kaya lalong humihirap. Kasi you have this notion na thinking na I can play a part of it na eh. Okay na yun. So instead of your quality of playing going up, it degrades. Kasi nagsisettle ka na doon sa kaya mo lang. And you're not gonna work and focus on the things that you can't really execute as well. Diba? Kasi nauulit mo, habang inuulit mo, enjoy na enjoy ka doon sa mga parts na kaya mo tugtugin. Pagdadating sa mahihirap, babagal ka. No? Iba, ganun yung nangyayari. So, instead of doing that and just wasting your time, let's say you practice 3-4 hours a day na paulit-ulit lang, wala ring mangyayari, pinagod mo lang yung sarili mo. It's better to cut it into small chunks, maybe have 30-minute practices, no? Within each of the chunks na nahihirapan ka talaga, and then play through it pag alam mong confident ka na in your ability, in your skill, in your technique, in your preparation to be able to play those pieces. Ayan. So, if you haven't tried it, try it for yourself, no? Just look at the results that it might give you, no? Kung makakatulong, edi good. If not, try something else, no? There are a lot of ways. Again, learning music is never linear. Walang one way of progressing because each one of us learn a different way, no? In a different manner, in a different timetable. So everything is up to you, and these are just, of course, tips that you could try and apply in your practice sessions, in your lessons, and in overall playing. Yeah. So sana nakatulong tong video na to. If it did, drop a like, comment down below more content you'd like to see, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on all my socials. All links you need down in the description box below. This has been Ryan Monakil for Violin Tips and Tricks, and I'll see you on the next video.